This is the next logical step to cheer Mike up, is to talk about the Hardy Party. Yeah! Pretty much every time you talk about Jaden Hardy, Mike Bassick is excited. And I think for good reason, and I put together some stats to kind of back this up. But one of the things going around Summer League is, because of the interesting way that the trades work and everything like that, is you haven't been able to use your draft picks just quite yet because you had to wait for the opening of the league year to clear all of that paperwork and everything like that. But multiple people associated with the Mavericks said, we're focused on Jaden Hardy anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's exciting. And then I went back and checked this. Over the last 3 months of the season, Jaden Hardy played 20 plus minutes 10 times. Here are his averages in those games. 20.1 points per game, 2.9 assists, 4.1 rebounds. So let's just make this really simple and easy. 20 points a game, 3 assists a game, 4 rebounds a game. Now, the Mavericks were at varying stages of competitiveness throughout those 10 games, but I think it is encouraging is when you see Jaden Hardy, you see the potential of why at one point he was the second highest rated player coming out of high school.
Yes, but right behind Chet Holmgren.
Yes.
Chet was 1, Jaden Hardy was 2 in the high school power rankings before Gonzaga and before the G League.
And to hear that their focus in Summer League is on Jaden Hardy, I think that's really encouraging to show, like, maybe the progression of Josh Green has taken longer than we hoped.
Right.
And they're like, hey, we're going all in on this kid.
You know, it's going to be interesting with Jaden Hardy, and I do believe we have some Jared Dudley quotes to get to here that can explain it a little bit further, is Hardy was not a good point guard in the G League. In fact, he was pathetic, and that's why he fell as far as he did. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick easily before the G League, and he was horrible at point guard. But then as that season progressed, he played more off guard with Scoot Henderson being more of the point guard. And that's where you saw progress with his game, as being an off guard. And so what I'm wondering here in the Summer League, are they going to want him to be more of a facilitator, a guy running the offense? Because he couldn't do it in the G League. And when he was playing well last year, right, he did it at times when Luka was hurt and Kyrie were hurt. But at other times, he showed that I can really play well. The way I played off of Scoot Henderson in the G League, I can play off of Luka. I can play off of Irving. And he did that well, where Josh Green really struggled with the 2 stars on the court. Hardy still seemed to be pretty good with those guys on the court.
And you talked about some of the quotes from Jared Dudley. I'll just give you a couple of them to start off. All my plays are for Hardy in terms of Summer League. And then this is the one that you can't help but get excited. And I wanted to talk about different evolution of this, a different evolution of this team if he's able to be really good this year. Hardy's on a whole nother level. His confidence, shot-making ability is elite. That's why you see the potential. So my question was going to be for you, when we're talking about the additions to this Maverick team, do we kind of ignore the progression of players like Hardy as like another asset? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you're not making a move for him, but if he takes a step up, that's another push for this team.
Yes. I don't know how big of a step you want to start saying for him. Like, because I think if you want to take the step into like contender status, can he be a borderline all-star? Probably
that's
not,
but that's
like, can he become Tyrese Maxey? Like that's a big ask of him in this second year, where his main position is a little bit stunted, because when you have Luka and you have Kyrie, there's only so much you can do as a guard on that team. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you're coming in to give them rest, to hopefully not lose what you guys have created early in the game, or you can expand on what you have. So I do think he can really help. I just don't know how much he can help. If he was 6'7" and a small forward, I'd be like, dude, I'm telling you, Kevin, this guy could be the main difference. But he's not really that. He's a guard. He has to fill in for Kyrie, fill in for Luka. I don't know how much he's going to play with Luka and Kyrie on the court at the same time, that he will be on the court with both of them. And so for these guys that have major impacts, for me, Kevin, they have to play the last 5 minutes of games, and I don't know how Hardy gets on the court to finish games.
Okay, so he's not going to be a closer.
But I do like him a lot.
At least with Luka and Kyrie, but he could be the guy who runs your second team offense.
Sixth man of the year. He talked about sixth man of the year. I do know that if we have the Jared Dudley cut here, I know that he also talked about what he really wants to see Jaden Hardy improve on because of how physical the NBA can be.
Well, Hardy has to get, the question Hardy's going to play, I'm not a head coach, but he averaged, 15 minutes? For him to get to 25, 27 minutes, his defense has to, his awareness off the ball, being low-manned, pin downs. And it took me, when I played, 2-3 years of that. And I went to BC for 4 years. So I asked the guy in the fire, and he's having to guard the likes of Kyrie and Luka, where these guys are elite. So for him, it's off-ball awareness. And then offensively, I think he shot 40% on step-back threes. So it shows you his capability, but can he make the reads? Can he make the lob pass to the low man? Can he make the corner pass? We let the game come to him. If he's 1 for 6, is he going to shoot 2 more bad shots? And that's why I try to ease him. Hey, you're getting 20 shots. All my plays are for Hardy. And listen, we know that he has to, and so it's geared for him. But at the same time, like, you have a lot of responsibility. It's not because you get a green light to shoot every time. It's very similar to Luka.
Okay, I want to pair something with the defense and see if you're intrigued by this, because I love this strategy. Is Dudley said when you, like a lot of people, especially in Summer League, they're trapping and loading up on him. He said, sometimes I give him the call, sometimes I don't, on purpose to see how he does with it. And so, look, I don't have question about his ability to evolve his offensive game or his offensive potential being there. But I love the test being, what do you do defensively, and what do you do when S just isn't going your way that day?
Yeah.
Like, because he said, do you jack up 2 more terrible shots?
Yeah. Don't watch Tim Hardaway Jr., because that's what he does. Like, if you
want
to watch how to do it wrong, watch Tim Hardaway Jr. when things aren't going his way.
And I like the idea that, first of all, you have to work your way through some bad foul situations or non-call situations. And secondly, what do you got defensively?
Yeah, and I know that later on he talked about how when Hardy gets into contact situations, as in he's taking the ball to the basket and there's going to be bumps by guys that are bigger than him, he did not like that. And look, that's tough, man. He's 20 years old last year. He has a 20-year-old body going up against guys.
This with Lively too, right?
Yeah, against guys that are 25 to 30 years old that are fully matured bodies, and that is not easy to do. And so he's got to learn how to take some physical contact around the basket and deal with that. Same thing with Lively, that he'll get a little bit of that in Summer League, but he's still going against guys that are 19 to 24 years old, and he doesn't know what it's going to feel like when Embiid or Jokic or Anthony Davis or, a Steven Adams bumps him. He's never played basketball against guys that strong, and Hardy, for the first time in his career, was playing against guys that strong. So I do think he can really improve. I love him. I think that he can average 15 for you next year off the bench. Wow. I know that Hardy said his goal is to be 6th man of the year. And I know that's very tough to do in your first kind of full-time doing it. You might not get the love that you deserve in your second year being a second-round pick, but I do think he can contend for that.
I also just, if we're being really honest, I love the idea that he's like, hey, I'm not a starter. I want to be 6th man of the year. I think that's a cool goal for a team to have somebody who wants to achieve that.
I do think that his improvement can really help, because I'm going to be honest, I do think that Luka will miss 10 games. Like, I hope it's only 10, but he'll miss 10. He'll get 5 games off that they're like, you're not playing because we're load managing you. And then there'll be another 5 games where his ankle's bugging him or his elbow or wrist or whatever it is he's going to miss. That's 10 games that Luka will not play. I think Kyrie's going to miss 25 games. I mean, that's just, to me, his career. I think there's going to be 25 games this year where Kyrie's ankle is rolled or he's not feeling well or whatever it is. So that gives you approximately half of the season that Luka or Kyrie are both not playing. In those games, So this is where I kind of like where you said, how much can he really help? I think in those games, he is going to be asked to possibly play down the stretch, and he is going to possibly have the impact where he might have the ability to go for 25 in that game because one of the guys who's supposed to be scoring 25 to 30 points is not in the lineup that night.
So the Hardy party is here to stay.
Yes. The other thing too is
we think.
No, I don't think he'll get traded unless, first of all, I think the Mavericks do overvalue him right now.
Okay.
And they do this, right? They've done it. Now, he's way better than Roddy B. But they do this with younger guys, and they're like, hey, will you trade him? No, we're only trading him for Giannis. And it's like, well, guess what? That ain't coming about. When teams call and they're like, hey, we might want to include Hardy in this Pascal Siakam deal, I bet the Mavericks say no. I do think that's overvaluing him a little bit right now. But I understand the value of him. I understand what they think he can be, and I think he can be really good too. But I don't think he's going to be traded because they value him on a level right now that 29 other teams don't value him at.